Hello. Hi, Jean Janice. Can you all hear me? Let me turn my little heater off. Hello, everyone. Come on in. Hi, Jacqueline. How you doing, dear? Close my door. Listen, does anyone else be cold? I be cold in my house. I be cold. And I don't like turning the air condition up and down, but it be cold in here. So I open the door or I'll have my little heater, have my little space heater. Hey Nikki, how you doing, cousin? I have my little space heater because I be cold. Look, I got me some coffee during the day. Mm-hmm. I have to stay warm. I like my hot tea and coffee. I drink coffee anytime. I just drink it for the warmth and the creamers. I shouldn't be drinking it. But I do it in moderations now. I do it in moderations. I don't yeah. Listen, we're gonna talk about fear today. We're coming to talk about fear. That's what we're going to talk about. We're going to dismantle this fear. And I'm not going to be coming from the word as much. I just want to talk about just regular old life. I may throw a few scriptures in there, but I don't like to throw scriptures in when I haven't studied anything. As people just come on here and go to talking knowing they didn't study them scriptures. And I don't too much like doing that unless I study something. I just want to talk about fear. Oh, you do, Jacqueline? See, I be cold. I'm always, yeah, I be cold. So I have to I have my little heater, or I have to have me some tea or coffee, something warm to keep from meddling with the thermometer, the the air switch going, moving it up and down. But at least we're gonna talk about fear. Okay. We're gonna talk about fear today. We're not going to let fear paralyze us. Oh, thank you, Dwayne. We're not going to let fear paralyze us. You hear me? We're gonna fight this fear. I used to be riddled. I don't know about any of you, but I used to be riddled with different fears and different projections that people put on me. And sometimes, fear could be a curse. Fear could be passed down. I don't know if you all know that or not. Some of you all have family members, parents, grandparents that were just always fearful. They wouldn't do anything. They wouldn't try anything different because of their fear. And I noticed that I've picked up some fears too from my bloodline. Just fearful of just simple things. And that's what we're going to talk about here, right? And fear is only let me define what fear is. This is the dictionary. This is Oxford. It says fear is an unpleasant emotion caused by the belief that someone or something is dangerous, likely to cause pain or a threat, right? And we all know the infamous scripture. God did not give us the spirit of fear. He didn't give us that spirit. We shouldn't fear anything. There are times when we know that our spirit would alert us that somebody is up to something, that they're dangerous, or to be careful, or to be alert. We get that feeling. But we should not be fearing. We should not be allowing our emotions to cause us to believe that something is a threat or that something is harmful. Some of us have some fears that are just so simple. We have simple fears. And me, I know I picked up some fears from my bloodline. I know I have, because some of this stuff I'm like, where does it come from? Why do I fear this? One time I was afraid to fly. I'm not going to tell you all a lie. I'm not going to lie to you all. I was afraid to get on a plane because I've heard people talk about fear and they're afraid of heights, and I just picked up their belief. I got my butt on the plane too. I sure did. I said, you know what? I'm not going to be afraid. I'm not going to be scared. I think I was in my 30s, early 30s, first time getting on a plane. I think I was 30. I had just turned 30, I want to say. Yeah, I was afraid. I was afraid. And I said, no, I'm not going to be afraid. I said, why am I afraid? Where did I pick up this fear from? I don't like things holding me back. I don't like things paralyzing me. I don't like things keeping me from having experiences and keeping me from doing the things that I enjoy. I don't like that. For me, I don't like that. I don't like to be held back. I'm very spontaneous, adventurous. I don't even like, because I experienced something in the past. I don't like that experience from the past. Now I'll learn from it. Now don't say, I'm not sitting here saying I'm crazy and silly and stupid. No. What I'm saying is I don't like for things that I've experienced in the past that were not good. I don't like it to come to my I don't like to bring that to my forefront, my future. I like to keep that as that happened with that person or that happened then. I don't like to I don't like for things that I've experienced in the past to cause me to, just to put everything in a box for my future. No, no, I don't like that. I don't like to be skeptical. You know how some people, somebody can burn them, or they can have a bad experience, relationship, marriage, or whatever from 10 years ago, but because they had that one isolated experience, now they putting all that on everyone. No, I don't like to live. I don't no, I don't like to do that. I promised myself I wouldn't do that. Mm-mm. I treat everybody as, that situation. Every situation is a different situation. Now, would I learn from, would I learn and take caution and, precautions and things like that? Yes. Yes. But I'm not going to, no, I'm not going to stop or put everybody in the box. I'm not going to take what I've experienced with Aaron. I'm just saying the name, Aaron, and put that on my next friend. No, mm-mm. No, that's fear. Yes, Jacqueline. I understand, dear. Yeah, I understand. That's understandable. But no, don't let fear paralyze you all. If there's something you want to do, do it. Do it. Don't let fear hold you back. A lot of you all are waiting for the right time. There's never the right time is now. The right time is now. You plan, and oh wow, that's understanding, Norma. But if you can get yourself out of that situation, what do you mean you're stuck? Unless I hope you're not disabled or anything. Now, if you're disabled, that's understandable. But that's scary. That's a scary situation to live in. Mm-mm. And I can understand. Listen, y'all talking to somebody who was riddled with different fears. And I had to sit down and ask myself, why? Why am I afraid? And what it boiled down to is I had to do a lot of work within myself. Because sometimes people want you to be afraid too. Sometimes people want to project their fears onto you. Oh, I understand that, Norma. I understand there. But you still can pray. You never know what God could do. All things are possible. Just because you're on a fixed income, you can still pray, ask God to, um, give you a way out of that. He'll send a total stranger to bless you. You have to believe. If income is the problem, you can pray and ask God to provide a way for you to get out of that situation, because you don't deserve that. I don't believe anyone deserves to be abused, regardless of what the situation is. And sometimes, Norma, he will have you in a place for a while to increase your faith. Sometimes he just want us to say something. He want us to make our request known. He'll do it. He did it for me. He'll do it. You just have to believe it. He'll do it. He will do it. But I was going to say, sometimes we allow um simple fears. I used to be afraid of some simple things. One is just speaking up for myself. I was so fearful of that. Fearful of conflict, fearful of making people upset. I didn't want nobody upset with me. These are just simple fears. I didn't want to make people mad. I didn't want to speak my honest opinion, my honest truth. I used to be so fearful of that. And I'm like, I need to go, I'm like, I need to really get to the bottom of this. Even if I have to go see somebody, or what do I need to do? I'm like, Lord, show me where all this fear is coming from so I can work through it. And I was just fearful of making people mad because of my own experience in childhood. I didn't want people angry at me. Yes, I didn't want people angry at me. Hey, Nancy from Fort Worth. Oh, wow. I love black tea. I have me some black tea. I have that almost every morning. It's either my black tea, or I don't drink coffee so much early in the morning. I try to get myself with some lemon and honey and my black tea, and I'll drink. I got different herbal teas that I drink in the morning, so I understand that. But I try to put some lemon in there, because that's the kind of laxative. It cleanses you out. When you wake up in the morning, a cup of hot tea, warm tea is good for cleansing. It's good for cleansing. But yes, I just had all these different fears, and I'm here to talk to you all, just to encourage you. Don't let that fear paralyze you. Sometimes you have to do what it is that you fear. You have to build up the courage to confront people. You have to build up the courage to speak your truth. And I know it's hard. It's hard sometimes, especially what seems easy to somebody else is hard for you, because you experience life in a different way. That's why you always get people say, that couldn't be me. If that were me, you get these people. No, it wouldn't be you, because you're not me. You didn't experience what I've experienced. So what I fear, you don't fear. And what you probably fear, I don't fear. This is why you can't compare your situation to someone else's. Because everybody had their own experiences in life, experiences in childhood. We're not the same. We don't have the same fears. And sometimes people can make y'all feel bad too about what you fear, or what you don't like to deal with, or what you don't like to confront. Sometimes people can make you feel bad about it. And don't feel bad about it. It's just that's how you are. You just have to, it's some things you have to work through, and it's okay. You'll get there. Just like me, I eventually got there. Standing up for myself. I used to sit there and let people mistreat me and would say nothing. And I'm sitting there feeling all stressed out and don't want to say anything because I don't want people mad at me. I don't want this person mad. And I could see clearly what the people are doing, clearly what they're saying. But because I'm so afraid to, rock the boat, I'm so afraid to stand up for myself. Yes, just mentally stuck. Jean Janice. Yes. I was just so afraid, just sitting there, knowing, people are mistreating me, knowing they're abusing me, knowing they're gaslighting me. And I'm just sitting there, maybe they'll see, what they're doing. Maybe they'll get it. Maybe they'll stop. No, they're not going to stop. You got to use your voice. And I knew the enemy was after my voice for a long time because he tried to silence me in a lot of situations, even from a little girl. The enemy was trying to silence me. It was the very thing God wanted to use. The enemy was attacking, instilling fear in me, paralyzing me, making me afraid to say something to people who are blatantly mistreating me. Oh, you best believe I'm gonna say something now. I'm only giving you one time. One time. That's it. You got to let people know what they're doing. You got to let them know. You have to be fair. Let them know I don't like when you do this or that. When you say this make me feel this type of way, that type of way. When you do this make me feel. If they don't respect that, bye. Bye. And we got to stop being fearful of losing people who don't do anything for us. I don't know why we feel like we got to keep people in our lives who don't do anything for us. I understand you in a relationship and you're trying to tough that out. That's different. You're trying to get it right. You're trying to get it right. You want to do right. But when it's other people who don't do anything for you, you don't have to subject yourself to their disrespect and their behavior. I don't care who they are. We have to stop being fearful of losing people, confronting people. Let people get mad. That's what I was afraid of. I was afraid of people getting mad. And because these people are going to get mad. As a chosen one, we can feel. We know how people are going to react. We can see it before they do it. But as long as you keep allowing them to mistreat you, as long as you keep being fearful of confronting them and calling them out, they're going to keep doing it. They're going to keep doing it. They're going to keep disrespecting you, doing things that you don't feel good, that you don't feel is right when a person is coming into your space. That's another thing. When people are coming into your space, they have to adjust to what you accept in your space. That means in your home. When people come to your house, their rules don't apply when they come to your home. When they come to your home, you have certain rules that that applies to when people come to your house. They can't carry their mindset over and their ways of doing things from their home to my space. Because some of these people are bold. Some of them are bold and I mean just bold is all outdoors, as they would say. And if you don't say nothing, these people will trample over your boundaries. They will trample over your boundaries if you don't say anything. That's what happened to me. And people would look at you and assume and think, I don't think she'll let people. Now don't get me wrong. Now people feel when they can do certain things. They just know with certain people, they know that they're not going to say anything. It's just some reason them spirits can pick up on when a person is going to say something and when a person is not going to say something. That's just like when when you're on a job and you're like, I'm tired of these people. They better not bring that foolishness today because I'm gonna say something. And on that day when you ready to say something, nobody don't bother you. But when your guard is down and when you're, When your guard is down, you don't feel like dealing with foolishness. That's when people come and bring all that foolishness to you. So it is sad. And I'm going to say this, that's why it's not good to be around people where you always got to have your guard up. That is not healthy. If you got to be around people where you always got to have your guard up, that is dysfunctional. You don't want to be around nobody where you always got to have your guard up. If she's come around today, if she say this, I'm going to say this. Why subject yourself to that? Just don't be around those people. If you can help it, exclude yourself. Unsubscribe from their issues because apparently they got issues. Unsubscribe. That's what I don't understand. Like, if you don't like somebody, if I don't like somebody, I'm not going to go around them. I don't want to be in their space. I'm not going to go around. I'm not going to make them like me. I'm not going to try to go be extra friendly. I'm not going to give them no gifts to try to buy. No, I'm not doing that. Your issue with me is with yourself. You need to deal with that. Don't put that foolishness on me. I used to be like that. I used to be like, why they don't like me? That's because I was dealing with my own issues of rejection and I had these different fears and stuff. And I'm like, why she don't like me? Well, maybe if I be nice. Well, maybe if I do this and maybe if I do that. No, people are not going to like you because the problem they have is with themselves. The problem is not with you. The problem they have is with themselves. And you have to believe that. It's just a projection. It's a projection. And if you don't know who you are, you will believe that there's a problem. You will believe that something is wrong with you. Oh, yes, Nancy, you have to speak up. And another thing, I had to learn to do was I had to stop allowing things to go on for so long. Like, when you're a person who's afraid of confrontation, and when you're a person that's just trying to be nice and you're trying to keep everybody quiet, you want to keep the peace. And one thing we'll do is, I've done it. One thing we'll see things going on. We'll let it happen for so long until a boiling point. You got to call that stuff out in the beginning. Twice. When you see something going on and it's on the second, you call it out. You address it. Not call, you address it. Let me say that to sound more, to sound kinder. Because calling it out means that sometimes people think you want to go, hood and ratchet and all that. No, you address it. When you see something going on, address it. Don't let it go on too long, because that's how, miscommunication, misinterpretations, and different assumptions and things carry on for so long. You don't want to do that. You want to handle the issues in the beginning. You will, Morgan. Yes, Laneri. Laneri. Hey dear. Um, and it is hard. And you know why why you do that? Because you still have to deal with some internalized issues that you need to address from childhood. Hi, Tyrenia. That's why we do that. I've done it. I'm coming here talking to you from experience. I'm not just talking just to be a talking head. I'm talking from experience because we be afraid of confrontation. We don't want people mad at us. I never wanted people mad at me because I grew up. Because when you do something and you grow up and people get mad at you, and you kind of freeze, and you have this fight or flight response, and you get paralyzed. So you want to make sure you say the right things, doing the right things. Let me tell you something. No matter what you say and how you say it, if you don't say it, people are going to continue to do what they want to do in your life. They're going to continue to walk all over you. They're going to continue to disrespect you. They're going to continue if you don't say nothing. Have you ever waited and you're like, I know this person know that this is hurting me. Hi, from Italy. I'll come visit. Ariel. I would love to visit Italy. But let me tell you, you know, sometimes what we'll do is we'll sit and wait and hope. We be like, I know this person. No, they know I don't like this. They know this is disrespectful. They know, and sometimes these people come around and they have this bullying energy, and you can feel that energy on you, trying to smother and control you and dare you to say something. Most people who got that bullying energy, they're weak. Bullies are weak. You ever notice that? These bullies and these little boisterous, manly demons, they are weak. Let me tell you how they're weak. The reason they're weak, because my grandmother always told me it's the people that's quiet you need to worry about. But the ones that are huffing and puffing, trying to show their dominance and want you to see that they're big and bad, you hit them in the right place, you will cut them down every time. But they can smell and sense that fear on you. They can sense and feel you don't know who you are. But as soon as you get the courage to stand up to them, guess what? They shrink like a little mouse. And what they play victim now. All this time they've been bullying you, they've been beating you down. I mean, they've been coming rah 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 rah. As soon as you say, you know what, I'm tired of this. I'm gonna stand up to this demon today. I'm gonna say something to this demon today. Soon as you say something to it, oh, that little demon, it manifests. Listen, that little demon manifest. Oh my goodness. Oh, you should have been said. Oh, you should have. No, ain't no should have. You knew what you were doing. But they didn't think you would have the guts and the gall to stand up to them. One thing about these spirits, these bullying spirits that's come breathing down your neck, that's trying to intimidate you and beat you down, they are hoping and thinking that you will never confront them because they feel like you don't have the guts to confront them. That's why with the chosen ones, God is always working on us. God is always working on the chosen ones. No, no, this is the time to be bold and rise up, ambitious Elisa. Mm-mm. No, you have to stand up because people, well, let me tell you something. The longer you're quiet, right? Quiet is consent. The longer you be quiet, that's consent for them to keep doing what they're doing. Either you're going to address it or just walk away. You got two options: address it or walk away. Because sometimes people know what they be doing. They just don't want, they just don't think you got the guts to say anything. Hey, princess. They just don't think you have the guts and the gall to say anything. Because you know what? Let me tell you why they don't think you have the guts. They have been trying you for so long. They have been studying you for so long. They have tested you. After the first two times they tested you, when they overstepped your boundaries, when they did things to you that you should have spoke up about, when they tested you those two times, they just felt like they could run over you. They felt like after those two times, you're not going to say anything. And you didn't say anything. I didn't say anything. After the third, fourth, fifth, sixth, 700th time, I didn't say nothing. I'm just sitting there hoping, sitting there like a little kid, hoping they see me. Oh, hopefully they get it. Or they may say, hopefully they get it. Hopefully they stop. They too old. This person old enough. They should know better. You got some people old in age, but not old in what it is. You got some people old in age, but they're not old in wisdom. You got people that are older children. You got people who are 50 and 60 still got the mindset of a child. Yes, old in age, but not wisdom. that was a cold, that was a shock for me because I grew up, my grandmother, I grew up with the by my grandmother. And when I grew up, the older women I grew up with, they were very wise. I didn't grow up with these adult children. Everybody older, right? Everybody of age. When I grew up, they acted their age as far as they were wise. Not saying people dressing because they dress hip and young. I'm not talking about that. In wisdom, these people were their age and wisdom. Yes, Greta, I worked with two people like that. I worked with two people in their 50s acting like children. That was so shocking to me. That was the most shocking thing to me. I had a, what they say, a culture shock. I think that was a culture shock for me. Let me see if I'm saying the right term. I never experienced that. I'm like, they sitting here acting like little children. I never saw that before. I worked with two people like that. I worked with two people like that. And then I experienced one older person in their 60s acting like a, I don't know what that person was acting like. She was acting like a, oh, I don't even know. She wasn't acting human. I just said, "Hmm." I don't know what she was acting like, but I never experienced people who are um older. Yes, I was shocked, Tyrenium. I was like, girl, that sent me for a loop. It took me a few weeks to recover from that. I'm gonna be honest. It took me for a few weeks because some and the other situation too, it took me some time because I didn't know how to process a person because I was still dealing with my fear. So I didn't know how to process a person like you in your 60s and you having a tantrum because you can't have your way. You in your late 50s and you acting like a child. You sitting here competing with somebody. Like you need to be delivered. You need to be delivered. And sometimes these people, yes, they got, and I can tell. Yeah, that's why I see, that's why I'm able to forgive people. Although I talk about the issues, I had to learn. This is why I had to learn. That's why I'm able to forgive people. It may take me a little time, but I always go back to that prayer. In order for God to forgive me, I have to forgive others. But Jacqueline, that's why I'm able to forgive people because a lot of people, and this is not an excuse. I'm not making excuses for them. Oh, I'm not making excuses for people at all because they know what they need to deal with. They just don't want to deal with it. Um, I notice a lot of people are unhealed. And one thing about people, they'll project their issues off on you if you let them. If you let them, if you don't speak up and you don't call that foolishness out, they will project their stuff onto you. And I had a person try to project their issues onto me. I'm like, I'm not going to take your issues. I'm not going to accept your issues you have with yourself to put them on me. I had a person to attack everything I stood for. This person tried to attack everything that I stood for as a mother, as a wife, as a person. And at the time I didn't understand what I was dealing with, but I was dealing with the whole demon who was insecure with herself, didn't know her own identity. She was struggling with her identity. But you want to put that on me. I know who I am. I wasn't sure at the time because see, I was younger. This person was older. And that's what kept me trapped in that cycle. Let me tell y'all what kept me trapped in this cycle, this particular situation I'm talking about, because I was younger and this person was so much older. I'm sitting here trying to wrap my head. Why is this person acting this way? Like, there got to be something else. I'm dealing with my own issues. And then to have this person added issues in my life, and then this person was older. I'm like, how do I get out of that? I'm trying to manage my own stuff and then to be dealing with the older person who got their own demons they're fighting with and trying to project that onto me. And I was like, no, ma'am. Look, I was like, no, ma'am. No, ma'am. You're not going to project that onto me. And then, she enjoyed getting under my skin. She enjoyed keeping me silent, enjoyed bullying me, enjoyed making me, be quiet when she came around. She enjoyed shifting the energy and the atmosphere. I didn't know what type of demon I was dealing with. I didn't know. I'm telling y'all, I didn't know this stuff. I was just so fearful of confronting that spirit. I was so fearful. And another reason I was fearful because I didn't want to make the people who I was connected to mad if I confronted that person, because that person was connected to somebody who I was connected to. And I didn't want to make them mad. I was so fearful. But when it all boiled down, I was the one that was suffering. I was the one that wasn't happy with my life. And these people enjoyed making me miserable. And I'm gonna be honest. I got to be transparent with y'all. I was miserable. I didn't know how to deal with it. I tried to put my best foot forward. I still tried to be happy and be present with my children and, have fun with my children and stuff while I was dealing with this. People don't understand because you be quiet about things so long. They don't understand what you've dealt with. They don't understand the warfare you had to deal with because you're not on social media blasting people, talking about them, calling their names out. No, that's not what we do over here. That's not what we do over here. That's not what we do. And people don't understand because you put your best foot forward. You try not to let things bother you, or you try not to wear what you're going through on your face. They think you're not going through anything or haven't experienced anything. This spirit was trying to take me out. And I didn't know how to deal with it. But the Lord taught me how to pray in that situation. The Lord taught me how to pray. I was so fearful to confront this spirit. And the first time me confronting this spirit was in 2019. That was the first time I ever confronted this spirit. Because see, with this person never said anything to me. With this person never said anything to me. Never talked to me a day in her life. Never conversated with me or nothing. Because this spirit was trying to intimidate and bully me. Wanted me to be quiet. Wanted me, how dare you say something to me? You're not good enough to say anything to me. This spirit created this atmosphere of fear, and they felt it. But let me tell you, God woke me up out of that. I had to get to a place where I was willing to lose anybody. And when I confronted this spirit in 2019, I had went to, I don't know if y'all know Tiffany Montgomery. She had a Millions conference. And I knew God was doing something in me then. This is my testimony right here. I knew God was doing something to me then because I had to fly all the way to DC when she had a Millions conference in DC. I fly out the Millions conference by myself. And this was in the time when I went to that conference. This was during the time a lot of those, people look like me in DC was coming up missing. Women at that, it was a scary time. But I felt like God was calling me to that conference. And so I ended up going to that conference. And I got delivered at that conference too. I got delivered. I wrote it down in my journal. I don't remember exactly what was said, but one of the speakers was talking about dealing with things and confronting things. And what they was talking about ministered to my spirit. And I knew I had to go back and I had to confront this demon. I had to confront this spirit that's been breathing almost like David and Goliath, breathing down my neck, torturing me, trying to make my life miserable. If you don't like a person, why be in their life? Why be a part of it? Just leave them alone. But I went to that conference and I came back and I knew I had to confront that spirit because I was tired. I was tired of being quiet. I was tired of living in fear. I was tired. And I know I'm not a bad person. I know, regardless of what that person was trying to say and the lies they were spewing out, right? I didn't have time for all that. You say what you got to say. You deal with your issues. I'm dealing with mine. And at this moment, you are an issue for me. So I need to confront you and ask you. Confronted that spirit. Confronted that spirit. It was right then and there. I saw a little baby, like a little child manifest on the phone. But you breathing and you big and bad. You big and bad, you bold. But them spirits don't like when you confront them. They don't like when you call them out. So they're gonna make sure that they get the opportune time. They're gonna make sure they get the opportune time to get payback. And ever since I confronted that spirit been trying to get payback. It's been trying to get payback. But I'm trusting God. I don't have to say nothing because I understand what you reap is what you sow. I don't have to fight you. You gonna fight yourself. You're fighting yourself because whatever you try to do to me is gonna turn back onto you. But I had to confront that spirit. I had to overcome my fear. My point is, I had to overcome my fear. You can't allow people to keep doing things to you, making you feel uncomfortable, coming in your presence. And this person used to come into my house. And it felt like I was a prisoner in my own house. You don't even pay bills here. I'm not going to feel like a prisoner in my own house. I'm not going to go in another room because you're in this room. No, I felt like a prisoner in my own house. And I knew it was something more spiritual that I was fighting. Because how could you have the nerve to come to somebody's house and you don't like them? Regardless of who you're coming there for. Don't come to somebody's house and you don't like them. You don't respect them. But you want them to respect you. These are the type of spirits that you have to confront early on. And if they don't want to respect you, you just cut the ties with them. And I know it's hard because when you're not healed and when you haven't dealt with your issues, it's hard to confront. It's hard. It took me a long time to confront this lady. Years, decades. You won't believe it. It took decades. That's how fearful I was, trying to go along to get along, trying to pretend and overlooking certain things that I should have been addressed. But because I was so afraid. Exactly, girl, I do that now. But I was younger and I was trying to find my way and trying to figure things out. And I was so caught up and trapped up in dysfunction and confusion. It's hard to think when you're caught up in confusion and dysfunction. It's hard to think because sometimes people try to make it seem like it's you. That's the problem. And it don't be you the problem. It don't be you. You know who the problem be. You know who the problem be. But people try to project that on you, gaslight you. It's always you. It's you. No. You got to trust your gut. Know what you feel when people come around you. I can't even tell y'all the half that I've experienced with this person. But it's this live is not about this person, so I'm not going to give them. I'm just sharing the examples of what we have to deal with. What you have to overcome. Exactly, Greta. And sometimes we have to do that. We have to do that sometimes until we get older. Like you said, until we get older, we can make decisions. But in this point, what I'm talking about, I was a people pleaser, so I didn't want to make certain people mad if I stood up. And the person knew. See, in my situation, the person knew if I said something, another person was going to come to their rescue. But I had to get to the point where I didn't care because I was getting sick. Have y'all ever been so stressed till you got sick? I was getting sick. This thing had me so stressed out. And I know it was more spiritual too. I know it was more spiritual than anything. Because, and this when God gave me this revelation. And I have to testify and tell y'all this because somebody need to hear this. This when God gave me this revelation. When you go to getting sick, and you don't know what's wrong with you. I was so stressed out. My immune system was so stressed out. My immune system was being compromised by stress. It was being compromised. And I didn't tell a soul. I didn't tell my family. I didn't tell anybody. The only person knew what was going on with me was my husband at the time. But I was so stressed that it was shutting down my immune system. And I used to be tired. And on my way to the doctor, the Holy Spirit told me, XYZ, this is why you're like this. Yes, Jacqueline, this is why you like this. If you don't straighten this out, this gonna be the death of you. And I said the devil is a lie. Because I thought about my kids. Thought about if something happened to me, who gonna be here to take care of my kids? As their mother. I'm not worried about the dad. I'm talking about me as the mother. It's my job to make sure I'm okay at this time. And when I got that revelation, I said, the devil is a lie. I'm going to stand up and I'm going to speak up. I'm going to speak up against this spirit. I'm going to speak up against this person. I'm not going to be sitting in fear, sitting over here trying to go along to get along, because apparently this person don't care about me. It's obvious that they hated my guts. Yes. I was being drained, Jacqueline. I was being drained. I got sick. I was going to all these specialists and stuff. Yeah. Like I was going to all these hematologists and oncologists, and I was just that stressed, suppressing my feelings, not telling nobody, not going to people, talking about the situation. I really didn't have anybody to talk to without sounding crazy. Oh, I stopped that too, Greta. I stopped that too. I stopped letting people dump all the issues on me. No, you're going to keep that. You're going to keep your own problems. You're going to deal with your own problems. That's why I tell people I'm a solutionist. If you come to me, I'm solution oriented. Yes, you're gonna vent, you're gonna tell me what happened, you're gonna vent, cry, snot, and then once you get done, we got to come up with a solution now. But I was so fearful, trying to work, trying to just take care of my kids. My energy was depleted, and I was just sitting there fighting. And people just sitting around me looking and not really caring. Because let me tell you something, if you don't care about yourself, people are not going to care about you. People are not going to care about you. Some people look at you hoping you croak and leave from here. They're not going to check on your well-being. At one point I thought I was going crazy. But God showed me what the problem was. Showed me what the problem was, and I had to deal with that. I didn't want to deal with that problem because I was in denial. I didn't want to deal with the issue. I was so much in denial. Showed me what was making me sick. Look, showed me what was making me sick. Who was making me sick? But I didn't want to confront the issue. I didn't want to believe it. No, I didn't want to believe it. Because we don't want to believe what we want to believe. We don't want to believe what the Lord is showing us. Because we got in our heads, we don't fix this little perfect little life up in our heads. Oh, Greta, I've been there too, done that too, dear. Been there, done that. And it be hard. It does. It be hard. It'd be hard for you to believe that the people who you think supposed to be there for you, like you there for them. It's hard to believe that they don't like you. Just son, are you okay? Yes, it's hard to believe that those people don't be liking you. It's hard to believe that those right up under you don't like you. It's hard to believe that that person you sleep with every night hate your guts. Got a hidden hate for you. Hard to believe your boyfriend don't like you, your girlfriend, your husband, your sibling, your auntie. It's hard to believe. That's how they can keep hurting y'all because they're, because in your head, you were raised, blood is thicker than water. You still got this belief, but you have to unlearn that foolishness and test the spirit. And the reason I say it's foolishness because your very blood, the people who blood to you, will harm you the most. In some cases, not all. But when you're dealing with the chosen ones, you got them ones that hate the chosen ones so much because that light radiates. That light radiates from off you. You remind them of what they're not doing. You remind them of, and it's not that you're doing it on purpose. That's another thing. You got to stop taking the blame for someone else's inadequacies, for their shortcomings and their insecurities. Yeah. Stop taking the blame for other people's insecurities. It's not your fault that you want to do something good. You want to do something great. Stop apologizing. Stop downplaying your accomplishments. Stop trying to be humble. Humble yourself, and you don't want to seem like you're bragging because you're excited that you accomplished something. You're not bragging. You're excited. Don't let people make you feel like you're not humble because you're excited. The devil is a lie. Don't let people spin your words. Take away your excitement and your accomplishments because you did something they couldn't do with little resources, with no help. And you sitting there they trying to make you feel bad for that. No, that's not what we're going to do over here. Stop feeling bad for that. Exactly. You definitely have to protect your peace. Stop feeling bad. People know what they're doing. They know what they're saying. Exactly. Stop feeling bad for accomplishing things and wanting to be great, wanting to start a business, wanting to do something different from what everybody else is doing in the family, for being different. Stop feeling bad for going over and beyond on your job because you got an excellent spirit. Stop feeling bad for how you're trying to raise your children. People, making you feel bad because you're trying to raise your children a certain way. And it's not the way that they desire. They're getting jealous and mad because they didn't put forth the effort. They don't have the love and the true care because you don't treat your children like they're objects. Like you own your children. You don't own your kids. You do not own your children. Them children was given to you from God. You are a steward over them. You were supposed to do the best you could while they were here in your care. Stop feeling bad. Because people try to make you feel bad. You got to be a strong individual in this world to do what you know is the right thing to do, what you feel is the right thing. Because people are going to come with their judgment. Well, why you this? Well, why you raise the children like that? Well, why you this? You're only doing the best you know how. That's okay, Greta. Yes, don't feel bad for that. You know you did the best you could. Because a lot of y'all, especially a lot of y'all parents, and I talk about this because I'm one of them. A lot of y'all parents, y'all go through guilt. You have this guilt. You go through this guilt trip because some of y'all know y'all did the best y'all could, for your children, and they didn't turn out how you wanted them to turn out, or they just went far left or right. You got to trust God's going to use that. And you got to remember, your children are not going to do exactly what you want them to do. They're not going to live. But what I will say, you have people that come into these children's lives and influence them to do wrong. They influence them to raise up and turn up against, raise up against you. They influence them to hate you as the parent. You got people that influence, they sit there and wait and influence your child to turn against you, to hate you. Because see, a lot of these people, they're so dysfunctional. They don't care about the well-being of the child. They just want to get payback on you. They don't love that child. They want payback on you. They want to hurt you. But they don't know God is dealing with you, and God is showing you things with this process. God is healing you through this process. He's training you up. He's equipping you. While they think they're hurting you, God is training you. Mm-hmm. And sometimes, listen, Greta, Jacqueline, sometimes you have to excuse yourself from people's lives. Sometimes you have to exit quietly. Exit quietly. You don't have to make an announcement. Just exit quietly out of people's lives, especially when they continue to bring unnecessary stress, unwarranted stress and trauma. Some people want to create drama in your life so the focus could be on them. Some people just dysfunctional. Really, a lot of people are really mentally ill. But that don't excuse behavior, because just because they mentally ill don't mean you have to subject yourself to that. That doesn't excuse them of their behavior. Because people use that mental illness as a cop out. Oh, it's my mental illness, or no, you ain't got no your mental illness ain't acting up when you ordering food. You know how to pay bills. It ain't acting up then. You know how to go out. You know how to do all the functioning things. But when you come in my life, it's the mental illness. No, it ain't a mental illness. You can go on somewhere over there. You get somebody else to do it. No, ain't no mental illness. You want it to be, because you don't want to be held accountable. People will claim mental distress, mental illness, mental health when they don't want to be held accountable. They run from accountability. Exactly. And I can see straight through it. I know when somebody truly mental and they just using it as a cop out. I was raised up, I was trained from a child watching my mom. I was trained up from a child was mental illness and was not. I don't need a PhD. I don't need no certificate. I watched my mom from the time I was a child to an adult, and I was able to study her over the years. And the only reason she was she fell under the mental illness spectrum because she was addicted to a controlled substance. It's only when she started using alcohol or drugs or got high or something that everything changed. Because she was normal, but she wasn't high or drunk. She was just as normal. And I've been trained up in that. And God do everything for a reason. I just thought about that. He do everything for a reason. So I can tell. I know. Not only do I know, when it's real and when it isn't. I know when it's a, I know when it's a cop out. I know when it's a cop out. People don't want to be held accountable. They'll do anything to run from being held accountable. They'll do anything to run from doing the work. They'll say anything. They'll tell any lie. Exactly. They'll tell any lie. Just to run from being accountable. But I watch my mom. I study her. I know. I know when, when them spirits get in people. I know when they're dealing with a spirit and they don't want to deal with that spirit. They want to, they comfortable with them spirits. And we don't normalize this stuff. So people just think it's normal. It's not normal. It's not normal. You need to be delivered. Need to be delivered. Yeah, I watch my mom. Me and my sisters, we used to sit there and laugh sometimes, thinking back on stuff, dealing with my mom and how I mentioned in one video how she used to be normal, a normal person, just normal. And them spirits go to acting up, especially one time we were trying to get her some help. Because in the system here in Florida, you got to be willing to go get the help, right? That your family say you need. And I remember one time we went to court and my mama, she was out there drunk doing all she, want to do and just acting a fool. And we thought, she wasn't going to be, sober minded, thought she was going to come to court all messed up. So I guess she had them sobered up. And when she came to court and the judge was asking her all them questions, you know, Miss such and such, do you want to, do this and that? She was like, ain't nothing wrong with me. I don't need no help. I mean, just as normal. She was answering them questions in sound mind, body and spirit. Look, them demons straightened up. They were like, we don't want no help. We don't want any help. Then she was back to doing what she wanted to do the next day. She had them sobered up enough for court because she didn't want to do it. She didn't want to. You can't get people help who don't want help. You cannot get people help who don't want help. And that's what we do as chosen ones. We try to rescue people who don't want to be rescued. We try to rescue people who don't want to be rescued. And I understand it is hard for some people to get out because their mind be so far gone and it be like mind blockages because I've experienced it. Like you want to get out of something, but it's just so hard for you to break free. I've experienced it. So I know it is hard sometimes. But the thing that was different from me and everybody else, I wanted to break free. I wanted to get out of what I was going through. I was looking and reading and finding books and help and talking to people, talking to different coaches. I wanted to. Exactly. You surely can. Jacqueline. I knew my mom. Look, I knew my mom was, I already knew. And she had a lot of stuff going on. She had a lot of stuff going on in her little life. Yes, she did. She had a lot of stuff going on. And people don't understand when you use these controlled substances and, alcohol and, um, alcohol and drugs and different things like that. Hope YouTube don't kick me out because, you can't say certain things. When you're using these controlled substances, people don't understand when you're using those, you're inviting different spirits into your body. You invited different demons to come in and take over you. That's why you ever saw an alcoholic get real sexual, they get real, you know, different things. They go to manifesting in different ways. You know why people go to crying. Some people go to crying. And like the old folks say, a drunk man never lies. They never tell a lie. They gonna tell you the truth. There be them spirits manifesting up in them. It's not funny, but them spirits. You ever pass by the ever been to a liquor store? You got ABC liquor store and it just is bold on there. And we don't never question ourselves. They got fine wine and spirits. Fine wine and spirits on the store. Mm-hmm. Fine wine and spirits. What kind of spirits you think they selling up in there? What you think? And this is why I never wanted to do. I never desired to drink or even do drugs or smoke or anything because I saw what it did to my mom, and I made a decision early on. That's not what I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna. That's what I was. I know. Even though people around me smoked and they drank, but for me, I just knew I'm like, no, I need to be in sound mind. I was already struggling with my own stuff. So just imagine if I would have coupled alcohol on top of it. Just imagine that. Mm-mm. So what the liquor store is selling? Fine wine and spirits. What kind of spirits they got going on? What type of spirits? That's what I want to know. Every time I pass by, I'm like, we go and people be going there like it's nothing. Hey, baby. Where are you going? Yeah. Yeah. So, mm-mm. I never wanted to. I never wanted no parts of that. I never wanted parts of it. Mm-mm. Nope. I made a decision early. I'm like, I'm not. Nope. When I was younger, trying to be grown, I used to like the little sweet drinks, the little wine coolers. But after having a few of those, and I saw how I acted, how I got real oozy and whoop. No, that's not for me. Mm-mm. Not for me. Hi, chosen by Christ 40. How are you doing? I said this is not for me, so I stopped that. I did that a few times, and that wasn't for me at all. But yeah, so I'm just coming to talk to y'all. Let y'all know, don't be fearful. We got to face these fears, and I know it's hard to face some of these fears. And people feel as if just because they don't have the same fear you have, you shouldn't be afraid. No, that's not true. They didn't have your upbringing. They didn't experience the different abuses and traumas you experienced as a child. Some of you all had healthy upbringings. Some of you all were able to use your voice as children. Some of you all, and I say a lot of people, especially a lot of us who look like me, what they call the black community, a lot of us, our voices was taken away from us. We got to tell the truth, shame the devil. A lot of our voices, we were stripped of our voices. And you got to forgive your parents and your ancestors because they were only doing what, was done to them. We were stripped of our voices. We were stripped to speak up. And that's why when we speak up, right? And when we get empowered to speak up, it comes out a certain way. And people want to say we're angry or we're bitter or we're mad. No, it's not that we're angry or we're bitter. It's just that when you've been stifled and you've been muzzled for so long, when you finally find your voice, you just get in a place where nobody gonna shut you up. That's all it is. You just empowered to use your voice now because you've been shut down and you've been told to shut up so much and you've been ignored and your voice have been not valued. What you had to say don't matter. And now you get to a place of empowerment that you got a voice and you can say something. Now everybody want to say that's the angry black woman, or she's upset, or she's mad, or she's bitter. It's not that you're bitter. If you have to understand where a person comes from, if you were put to where you were not able to talk, or put in a position where you were not able to talk and express yourself, then when you did say something, people didn't believe you. And now you finally at a place where you're not a child anymore. You are an adult, and you just saying however and whatever and whenever it comes out and how it comes out, because you feel like you got so much to say. That's why I don't judge people. I don't. I don't be judged. I don't. When I say judge, I don't be speaking on people's issues, situations. If I don't know that situation personally, if I'm not doing this here and talk about my experience, I don't be worried about nobody else's experience, because I wasn't in their shoes. I can't say what I would do. I can't say what I wouldn't do if I didn't grow up in their shoes, if I didn't experience their life, if I didn't walk their journey, if I didn't walk their mile, if I didn't walk their, in their path. I can't say what I would do and what I wouldn't do. This is why, as the chosen one, you have to be empowered to do things that's best for you. Do things that you know that speaks to your spirit. Do things that are right, that will speak to your spirit. Avoid people and things that make you feel uneasy. Address issues that matter to you quickly. Address them quickly. Don't wait until that thing fester and grow. Don't wait until it snowballs into this big gigantic snowball avalanche, and then everything go to crumbling down. No, nip it in the butt in the beginning. If you feeling some type of way, even if how you're feeling is not right, right? Because sometimes you can address people and let them know how you're feeling, how they're making you feel, and they'll tell a lie to you. They'll lie to you in your face. They'll lie to you in your face. Oh no, you feel like that. I don't mean to make you feel like that. And they're making you feel like that. But because you addressed it, they want to backtrack. They want to backtrack on how they made you feel. What they're doing to you, rather, right? The projection and all that they're doing to you. Now they want to change the story because you addressed it. No, that's what they're doing, but they're not going to tell you that. Nobody's going to tell you that's what they're doing. No one is going to admit to it. But you have to let them know, listen, I don't like when you do this. I don't like when you say this. Before you come to my house, could you please notify me, let me know, right? Things, whatever you don't feel comfortable with, address it. Please, when you come to my house, don't rearrange I had some people tell me that their in-laws, their mother-in-laws come in and rearrange their furniture. Rearrange their furniture, go in their kitchen, change their children's clothes from what they put. Like, no, ma'am, that's not what you're gonna do. Let her know I love you, ma, but I don't want no other woman in my kitchen. When I cook something, I don't need you to add your seasonings. Don't add your seasonings to my stuff. I'm not cooking to your liking. This is to my liking. I'm cooking the way I want to cook. My way is not your way. And I would appreciate it if you don't come opening my pots, changing around my furniture, moving my. How do people have the audacity? I never understood it, but I've heard some people say, and that's just as backwards. But if you don't like it, is what I'm saying. If you don't like it, you address that. And I know it's hard, especially with dealing with them in-laws. It is hard because you don't want to feel like you coming between that the son and the mom. This is why you got to make sure before you marry, people understand their place. A man's understand his place with his mom. He need to understand God's way so y'all won't have all that conflict. But you ain't gonna be moving my furniture. I'm sorry. You ain't gonna be adding no seasoning to my pots. First of all, you're not going to be in my kitchen. That's number one. Get out of my kitchen if you're not invited. That's number one. Because that's crossing boundaries. You don't make people feel like they don't know how to cook or they're inadequate. That's not your place. That's not your place. That's where all this confusion and war and pain and hurt comes from. Where people want to dominate and project their dominance over somebody. This foolishness has to stop. Address them with respect, woman to woman, address in love, which only thing love is respect. Ain't no, oh, don't go all sheepish. No, you go with some boldness. Yes, Christ 41 learn how to respect boundaries. But people don't know how to do that. Some people are so broken and hurt and riddled with their own demons. They want to cause pain in somebody else's life because they're not happy. They're not happy with themselves. So they're going to make sure you're not happy with yourself. They don't know who they are. So they want to project that foolishness on you, make you feel like you don't know who you are. They don't know their identity. So they want to project that on you. No, say, no, you can keep that. Get somebody else to do it. Let them keep their stuff. You got to learn how to reject people's projection. You got to be like Neo in the Matrix. Stop it and so it can go back. But people will do that when you don't know who you are, when you're not healed, and when you don't speak up, people will do that. They will do that. They will project their stuff onto you. Make you feel bad. Try to impart their way of doing things onto you. I don't do it this way. That's how you do it. I don't need to do it your way. I have my own way. My son don't like it this way. Well, he got to get used to this way. You tend to your husband if you have one. You tend to your family. I'm running this ship over here. This ship is my ship to navigate. Let me figure it out. That is what caused a lot of pain and confusion in relationships. People not having boundaries. People not understanding their roles. Exactly. Trauma bonding. That emotional incest that's going on. You don't know if that's your son or your husband. And it's foolishness. And it's a waste of time to be going through that type of stuff. But I'm gonna come back and talk about that too, that emotional incest. I'm gonna come back and talk about that. I got so much I want to talk about. That's why I said August, I'm gonna be hitting the ground running. August, I'll be hitting the ground running with a lot of, the trainings and different coaches and hi Victoria. Um, a lot of things that, I want to discuss just from experience and what I've noticed in different family dynamics. Like, if we don't address this stuff, it's going to continue on. That's how generation of curses continue because no one is addressing it. No one is saying that is wrong. No one is saying this is not what you should be doing. No one is saying, I don't like when you do this. They keep let the dysfunction perpetuates from one to the next because no one is addressing things. No one is bringing things to the forefront. We just sit there and let it carry on for years, and no one says anything because they're afraid. You should see if you're afraid, and this is when you know it's trauma and dysfunction. This is an indication right here, and this just came to me. This is trauma, dysfunction, and this is something spiritual. If you are afraid to address something with somebody about something that's bothering you, you know you're dealing with the spirit, right? If you got a fear, and it could be your fear of it could be the fear from yourself, or it can be the fear that you know that person is going to get mad. Yes, that's a spirit chosen by Christ 40. That's a spirit. And spirits don't like for you to address them. They don't like for you to call them out. Yes, exactly. They don't like for you to address them. They don't like for you to bring them out to the forefront because they want to sit there and run down the bloodline. They want to run down the bloodline. That's why go back in your bloodline, you'll see the same behavior in almost everybody. But you chosen one because you like, I don't want no part of that. But you chosen one. The same behavior, the same patterns are continuing down the bloodline. Divorce, after divorce, mental illness, drug addiction, confusion in gender, poverty, religious spirits. That's 6 of my name, but I could look at mine. Lack of communication, misunderstanding, strife, jealousy, bitterness, assumptions. What else? That's 12 right there. Like, when does it stop? And dysfunction has become so normalized. People have accepted these behaviors as normal because that's all they have seen. That's all they've experienced in their bloodline. So when somebody come along and say, you know what? Hold on. Hello. Hey, dear, what's up? Yeah, I'm doing the live. What you got going on? I'm almost done. Where you at? So I'm gonna call. Well, I'm gonna call you as soon as I'm done. I was getting ready to end it anyways. I'm already almost 2 hours in, girl. Okay, dear. All right. Exactly. Chosen by 40. Envy. That's one of my BFFs there. Envy. Yes. I mean, just this assuming spirit, this jealousy, this spirit of getting mad at somebody because they trying to do different. They just trying to break the generation of curses. They trying to overcome. People be all right with you. You know. I think for me, with certain people in my family, I'm gonna be honest. I think they would have been all right with me if I would have turned out like my mama. If I would have been a drug addict. If I wouldn't have been so adamant about breaking the curse. Like if I would have just headed down the trajectory, the path that I was on before, I think I would have been more welcome and accepted. If I would have succumbed to their idea of who I should be, I think I would have been all right on one side. I'm gonna be honest. I think I would have been good. I think I would have been good if I would have had four baby daddies, you know. Um, didn't know who my kids' dads were. Um, I think I would have been good. I think I would have been I think I would have been more, welcome and loved by some of them. If I would have been still like there clubbing and partying and um just lost, you know, it would have been different, unfortunately. Because sometimes people have this thought and these beliefs of how they've cursed you to be, you know, how they've cursed and thought you to be, but you didn't turn out like that. Chosen ones always start off bad, but God will snatch them right up. They always start off as if they're heading down the wrong direction, but when you're chosen, you're chosen. God's going to put you back together in front of the very people who wanted you to head down the wrong road. That's why people develop this envy and this energy that you feel that these people don't like you. They develop this mindset because you didn't turn out how they thought you were going to turn out. You didn't end up how they thought you was going to end up. Matter of fact, you ended up being better off than the people who they put on the pedestal. Mm-hmm. So now, when things don't, no, I ain't gonna say that one there. But yeah, they just think, you know. But you got to be okay with that. You got to be okay and understand and learn who you are. Exactly. Chosen by Christ 40. Anything to make you look like a bad person. Anything to make you look like a bad parent. Anything. Because you stand for something. That's why when I experienced the thing with my oldest son, that's why when I experienced that, it seemed like people was like, it's almost was like, oh, we're gonna take his side type thing, you know, because I already knew what was going on. I already knew spiritually what was going on. I already knew, you know, it was almost like, oh, it's almost like it was a divide. Like we're gonna side with him because we know how she is type thing. No, they don't know how she is. When you hold people accountable, that's what happens. That's what happens. When you hold your children accountable, you don't give them excuse for their behavior because you walk through the excuses that they're trying to make. You don't walk through it and you made it through and you're not giving them a way out. No, I know they're not me, but you're not giving them a way out. Exactly. Oh yeah, Kryptonite. Oh honey, but no, I make mine gonna be responsible. You ain't gonna put that on me. You're not gonna put that on me. Oh no, that's one thing. And see, that's one thing I didn't let my son do. I didn't let him blame me. Oh, we're gonna work through whatever issue you got, we're gonna work through what it is. You're not gonna sit and put blame on me. Let's talk about it. Oh, we couldn't talk about it. We couldn't talk about it. Because guess what? There's nothing really to talk about. I know I'm not perfect as a parent. Because look, I'm telling y'all, I went through my own traumas. So it's probably could have been something I said or did that I don't remember. I know it wasn't abuse physically. I know that. I know that. If it's something I said, let's talk about it. Let's get through it together. But no, see, what happens is, when you're heading on the right path and the right trajectory, you'll have people that come into your life who wants to try to make your life miserable. If they can get in your children's ear to turn on you and make your child hate you as a mother, they'll do that. If they and sometimes these people will side with your child, knowing your child is wrong. They won't address the issue. their side with your child. But this is what you have to do, Crystal. Let me tell you what you have to do. You have to pray and release that child. Pray that God will use that situation to wake him up. That's what you do. Relieve yourself. Relieve yourself from any guilt, any shame, any pain. You got to relieve yourself of that. Oh, because I've been there. And see, the people don't understand. Okay, this is my firstborn. So I never been through anything like I've been through with my son. I never been through anything like that. I didn't know how to process a lot of that. The Holy Spirit had to come and show me how to process it. Because sometimes, people throw that mom guilt on you. And not only that, moms, you'll put that guilt on yourself. And them kids will use it against you too. These kids are very smart. When they want to have their way, when them demons in them want to have its way, they will guilt trip you as a mother. And you got to know what's being thrown at you or on you. You got to know this, and you got to stand firm. You got to stand your ground. You got to stand your ground. And see, I stood my ground, and that spirit didn't like that. People didn't like that. I had people to go lie on me, take my son and parade him around. Still to this day, think I don't know. Still telling lies. Still trying to make me look like the bad mother. But see, when you know who you are and you know your truth, you can still you can not worry about things. Because in the beginning, that thing almost took me out. I ain't gonna sit here and lie. I ain't know what hit me. I'm like, something coming over here, something coming over there. I was like getting hit on both sides. But then I went through my process and God started revealing to me different things and what was going on, the spiritual piece of it, the wickedness, the darkness, everything started falling into place on what I was seeing. That's why I'm able to talk to you all. But God used that for such a time as this. Because a lot of people, when I did my video last time, you know how many people are going through this with their children? So many people are going through this with their children. I didn't even know. But I was just coming here, sharing my story on one of my videos, my past video. I was just coming here being obedient. And people just typing this to my child. I'm like, oh my goodness, so many people going through this. So many people going through this. But when the enemy can't get you, that's what he do. He operate through them children. He used them children against you. And he used people to manipulate your children against you. This is why you got to stay prayed up. And you pray that God will open their eyes one day. But sometimes this stuff's so demonic, it just destroys all relationships. And unfortunately, sometimes you got to let go. Because it'll be the death of you. Yes, it'll be the death of you. Yes, and sometimes God use that to bring you closer to him, Krista. You got to know. He'll take things away. That's why it's so important for us not to put nobody before God. Don't put these children above God. Don't put your spouse above God. Don't put nobody, no mama, no daddy. Don't put them above God. Because these people will disappoint you. Your children will disappoint you. Your spouse will disappoint you. Your mother will disappoint you. You don't put them above God. It's God, then everybody else. If you're married, it's God, your husband, or God, your wife, or God, your spouse, whatever you want to say, then your children. Because you're going to need him once they go to acting crazy. Look, you're going to need him once they go to acting the fool. And the goal is to keep the communication open. The goal is to keep the communication open. You be open and honest with your children. But unfortunately, you got people that don't like you. They don't like you, and they will get in the heads of your children to make your children hate you, lie on you, tell lies about you. That's why I try to tell my kids, come talk to me about stuff. But with my oldest son, I was younger, and people, he was being groomed, and I didn't even know he was being groomed for the longest, and I didn't know. But that's okay, because I know I did my part. What gives me peace of mind, Krista, chosen by 40, Jacqueline, what gives me peace of mind? Knowing I was the best mother I could be. knowing I did my part, knowing I loved, knowing I was there, knowing I was open to answer any questions, to see if I missed the mark somewhere. Because we're working. We working, we sending these children to daycare, we sending these kids with family members, thinking you can trust them. You don't know what's going on, you don't know what happening behind the scenes, you don't know. But knowing I made myself available, knowing I wasn't the type of mother that said, oh, that's just how I am. I did the best I could. All that. You got the mamas that don't want to be, they don't want to face no truth. I'm not that type of mother. Never was, never will be. I want to try to talk and get things through because I didn't have that growing up. My grandmother was like that. Man, my grandmother talked, but I didn't have that with my mom. I made myself available. I tried to get to the root of the issue. Okay? I tried to get to the root, to the bottom of it. So he have no excuse. Regardless of what the lies that was being spread and said I did. I made myself available. I was open. Because I was like, I could have missed the mark. I was going through my own stuff. I could have missed something. But me trying to pry and just come to realize some people just want to be evil and vindictive. Some people take on, and see with my son, what I realized, he's taking on somebody else's hate for me. No account. Yes, he was he was so vulnerable. He was so vulnerable that a person used him, and he is his fault too. Now I ain't gonna just say it's other person, but he was so vulnerable. He let somebody else use him against me. Get in his head. Oh, your mama should have did this. Your mama she should have been there. This, that, and the other. Based on the situation, that took place. No, I hold people accountable. No, I'm a person that's hold accountable. Everything that I stood for, everything that I taught, everything that I, tried to instill in my son, he went back and said, I never taught him, I never told him, I never mentioned. That's why I know it was part of his doing too. Some of this was his doing for whatever reason, whatever hidden hate or hidden anger that he didn't want to reveal and tell me. This was part of his doing. But I can sleep and I can rest and I can leave this earth. I can check out of here today. I can check out of here today at peace. Because truth needs no what I'm gonna say. When you live, truth needs no backup. It needs no extra. You know what I'm saying? It needs no extra. Once you get to the bottom of stuff, truth needs no extra. Truth could stand on its own. But I can sleep at night. I can rest. I can check up out of here anytime. Knowing my heart was pure, knowing I did what was right in my will and my knowledge with the information that I know. Okay, I can check up out of here in peace. I'll be like, if some people leave and they have a little mad on their face, I'll be peaceful. I'll be peaceful. That's when you know you've done right. When you know you can check up out of here, you have no regrets. You have no regrets. And I told my son that too. I said, baby, I could leave here today knowing I did what was right. Knowing I held you accountable, and I did what was right in the eyes of God. People could say what they want to say. Paint me how they want to paint me. Lie. I know. I know. And this joy and this happiness and understanding, you can't get that from the outside. You can't get that from outside. That peace comes from within, comes from above. Because see, one thing the enemy will do when he can't get you, he'll get in these kids. I tell y'all that. He'll get in these kids. And he'll have you questioning yourself and your worth, knowing you doing all you can. And that child act like you ain't do nothing for him, like you over there starving him out or something. Half y'all don't broke y'all backs, but you would never throw it up because as a mother, that was your job. I know I enjoyed being a mom. I enjoyed raising children that were well behaved, that listened, that was obedient, that knew right from wrong. I enjoyed it. I wouldn't change nothing about it either. Nothing. No regrets. Because people try to make you feel regret. If you did this way, if you did that way, if you, I do it all over again. I do it all over again the same way, Kristen. Because see, the lessons that I learned from it, you can't get that unless you go through. See, we want the lessons, but we don't want the process. Exactly. I do it all over again. Don't regret not one thing. I take the good, the bad, and the ugly. I used to be like, well, maybe I shouldn't have. Well, maybe this, maybe that. No, I'm not gonna live in regret and in the past. No, nope. Even with allowing him to go around certain people that I shouldn't have not allowed him around, I let that happen too. Do it all over again, the same way, because there is lessons in that, not only for him, but for me. I have learned now what not to do with the other ones, because I have four. I learned what to pay attention to. I learned what to address. But when you know you've done all you could, ain't nothing you could do but let folks live. Let them live. Let them live their life. And that's another thing, parents. You got to release yourself and let your kids live their life. They're going to have to go through their own things. They're going to have to go through their own life experiences. They're going to have to get to know God for themselves. You don't have to push and project and throw, push God on them. Life will do it. You just got to be there to guide them, tell them what's right, what's wrong. Be that mother, be that voice, the voice of reason. There's consequences if you do that. When you do that, these are the consequences. Got to remind your children everything that they do, there's a consequence behind it. There are spiritual consequences, physical natural consequences. And you just pray that God use that. That's all. They have to go through their stuff. Let them be. Let them live how they gonna live. And you live your life. You get your life, mama. Get your life. You live your life. Go take up you some arts and crafts. Do something. I know it may hurt, but I don't be worried about nothing. When I tell you, I don't be having. Listen, once I start doing the work on myself and I release, I don't be worried. Listen, I don't be worried about nothing that I can't control. Let these kids live. If they 21 and older, let them live. If they get the decision and when they become legal and they make up in their mind they don't want to be in your house, let them go. Don't hold them there. You don't hold them there. That's what I did to my son. He made the decision he wanted to leave. I let him go. I didn't stop him. He thought I was going to stop him, fall out and cry. I'm like, that's a blessing. He just don't know how stressed out I was. Look, I was stressed. I'm like, oh, Jesus, that was like a blessing. Listen, that was one less mouth I had to feed. You talking about I'm in the stress? You better listen. Thank you. You know how much of a burden lifted up off my shoulder? Look, that's why I didn't stop. I'm like, oh, Lord, you answer my prayer. But at that time, it was new, it was fresh. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was at a place I wasn't. Then it was during the pandemic too. Like, I'm trying to keep my family safe. I'm trying to keep y'all safe. Going through the pandemic and worried about the Roro. Look, I'm worried about Roro, trying to keep my family. And at that time, I was working in healthcare. So I was in healthcare. See, we be looking at things. See, parents, we got to learn to change our perspective. You can't control people. You can't. Yes, everybody, Krista. I was trying to keep my sanity. Then he want to be acting a fool. No, I was working in healthcare. I have to tell y'all the story. I got to do it on Zoom, but I'm in a place where I'm healthy now that I can share it without crying and tearing up and talking, to you from an angry place. But you got the spiritual piece I want to share, because some people need to be delivered from this. Like, you can't be everything to everybody as a mom. You got to let your children know you have feelings too. You're not God. You let them know you make mistakes. Let them know that you need guidance sometimes too. Let them know you're not God. Because, when we grew up, we thought our parents were God. And we thought they couldn't make no mistakes. We thought grandma was God, a little mini Jesus. We did. I know I did. I thought my grandma was mini Jesus, like she was on this pedestal. We can't put our parents and stuff on a pedestal. They're not God. They're going to make mistakes. They're going to do stuff and say things to make us mad. That's why some of us, when we find out things our parents done in their past, we look at them like, hello, I'm still going. In the closet, on his phone. Yes, we look at them like, oh, I can't believe mom did that. No, your parents are not in it. They're not, they're human too. They made mistakes. They've made mistakes. And sometimes, our children, they know us too now, just like we know our children. Them kids watch us, they study us, they know what can get under our skin, they know what make us mad. Let's tell the truth, shame the devil. These kids know us too now, parents. They know us. Mm-hmm. Oh, yes, they do. That's why it's good to have that open communication. And, when I got hit with my stuff, I'm looking like, where is coming from? Like, I was lost. I was lost. Like, this hit me from left field. Never knew it was coming. Then when Roro here, and like, like people think parents don't have feelings. Parents got feelings too. Mothers got feelings. We mothers especially, we carry a lot. Not only we're thinking about your well-being today, we thinking about your well-being tomorrow and years to come. We thinking that far out. Like, we carry a lot. We deal with a lot. All parents do, but mothers mostly. I'm gonna speak because I'm a mom. Mostly, I don't think nobody carry more weight and carry more concern than a mother, than a good mother, who mean their children good, who have their children best interest, and their children are not objects to them. You want the best for your child. Mm-hmm. You want the best for them. Mothers like that worry about a lot. Worry about a lot. She's thinking about you and not even thinking about herself. She done made you all kind of appointments. Your dental appointment, your eye appointment, your physical appointment, and haven't made her appointment yet. She don't know what's going on in her body. Them mothers. And we got to reverse that, Mom. That's not a badge of honor, but we got to change that. We got to take care of ourselves first and foremost. We got to take care of us first and foremost. And that's not selfish. I had to learn to reverse that. I had to make sure I'm on top of my appointments first. Because if I don't know what's wrong with me first, I'm not going to be able to take care of my kids. I got to make sure I do my physical every year. Make sure I'm on top of my stuff, my dental. Look, my dental. Something my grandmother really never did too much when I was younger. Trying to keep a few I have. You making sure you got your dental appointments. You making sure, you got to take care of you. And we got to unlearn this sacrificial way of parenting. And what I mean by that is not taking care of your health and your mental first. We sacrifice so much so everybody else could have while we haven't even got our mammograms. We're stressed out. We got to take care of ourselves, how we put energy in everybody else. Exactly, Krista. Girl, everybody was going through it. And I was doing everything I could to keep my sanity because I was in healthcare. And that COVID, was fairly new. I meant to say that, but 2020 was fairly new because they'll probably kick me out. It was fairly new then, and I was just trying to keep my house safe, sanitized, and everything. While going through all of that, craziness. Yes. But that was all right. So I faced it. I dealt with the fear. I got through it. I'm glad I'm over it. I'm glad I'm healed. I don't let go. I don't forgave. I'm not bitter. I'm not letting that stop me. You know what I'm saying? But I'm going to speak the truth. People think because you speak the truth and talk about things that you're bitter, that don't mean you're bitter. That's not being bitter. We got to stop putting things in categories because you don't want people to share their story. You don't want people to talk about their testimony. Just because somebody talk about something, it is not that they're bitter. It is not that they have not forgiven. They'll throw that up. Religious people do this. Religious people do this a lot. Oh, you bitter. You still talking about that from, yes, I'm still talking about it. It's my story. I teach from it. People are hurting. People are going through things. I don't want people to think they're the only one. I don't want people to look at me like I got myself together. I've been through stuff, going through stuff. That's what's called the responsibility channel. We are responsible for our happiness, success, and freedom. We're taking power back into our own hands, dealing with ourselves so we can be happy, free, and whole, successful. Have good relationships, good friendships. Don't let people silence y'all. Are you still talking about that? If it were done to you, if you experienced it, they still talking about stuff they say you did. They still talking about them lies. Don't let people silence y'all. You know your heart is pure. You know you done with that. Now you can laugh at it now. Sometimes, you look back on stuff, you just laugh, you chuckle. I know I did. Like I was gone, like, I don't know what hit me. Look, I was sitting back, I'm like, oh my goodness, I don't know what hit me. Don't be afraid to share your story. You got to call names, you got to be bitter. But that's your story, that's your truth. You got the right, you have a right. And what that meme says, that meme say, don't do anything to me you don't want me talking about. You can say whatever you want to say. People can start a channel. They can just tell lies all up and through the channel. That's what they want to do. If they feel good doing that, they got a right to do it. But you know your truth. You got to stand on that. You got to know your truth and stand on that. You got to know what the truth is, and you got to stand firm on it. Because my grandmother always say, the truth will outlive a lie any day. The truth will outlive any lies. Okay. These my little customized emojis that I'm just reminding us of. Hmm. Yep, we got the promised land emoji. We got the I am my rescue. This is a pool, a rescue. Where are you going? Jayla. Uh, you got I'm healing over here. And here I'm not going to cry about it. My little baby, I'm not going to cry about it. Okay. Over there. But yes, you all. So I gotta go. Yeah, I just want to come and talk to y'all and let you all know, hey, don't let fear stop you. Listen, we're all processing. Listen, we're all processing life, going through life. But your job is to address things that bother you. You don't have to deal with people that don't want to deal with you. Right? You work through relationships that you know are valuable. You work through those relationships. If the person wants to work through them, because sometimes people don't want to work through it. You want to work through it, but they don't want to work through it. So you're gonna have to say, you know what, I'm okay. And that's okay. You got to get yourself together and move on. Get yourself together and move right along. Heal, do what you got to do, and move right on along. But be blessed, you all. It was nice talking to you all. It was nice talking to you. Um, I'll come back and chit chat. You can always email me at the name here, responsibility@gmail.com. And yeah, y'all be blessed, okay? Be blessed. Be blessed.